Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome in. Welcome to another episode of Sit Down, Shut Up. Today we have Ancross. Let's bring him on. Hey, Ancross, can you hear me? Awesome. How's it going? How good, huh? How's it going? Doing all right? Not too bad, not too bad. Sorry, a little late today, but life gets in the way sometimes. Doing cool, man. So I know you had signed up, and I think you were looking at playing not Dhalsim, right? So I'm assuming Sim is your main, but you're trying to pick up other characters. Is that kind of the way it's been? Okay, okay. What character were you looking at? Was it Aki? I think. Okay, cool, cool. So like, what challenges do you think you're having right now, in particular, when it comes to playing not Sim?
Can win games. Like I got the 1600, but that's just because Fireball Drive Rush is stupid.
hmm hmm
When people can stop Fireball Drive Rush, I'm just a sitting duck that just gets beat on.
Okay, gotcha. So we're talking about like what neutral looks like when you're not trying to zone full screen or float or anything like that, right? Like that. I feel like that's
Yeah,
kind of where, because I feel like with Aki especially, you lab a little bit and you're able to do those conversions basically. You don't need too many of them, but you just need a couple, and you can probably win the game pretty easily once you have some momentum. But trying to win that neutral fight in mid screen until you get there, right, can be kind of tough.
right.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So let me invite you to the custom room here, and we'll get started. Just one sec here. All right, invite should be sent here. So what we'll do for today is we'll run a first to three, and I'll try to get a sense of like where I might be able to help you out. Obviously, you're a fantastic player, so I'm probably not going to run into too many like glaring issues, but we could probably talk about some stuff that maybe is not like the forefront of someone that plays that zoner lifestyle, right?
Yeah,
Then we can do a little replay review after that. Take a look at one of the games and see if there are specific points we can kind of pick out. After that, we'll take a look at one of the replays you sent me. So we'll take a look at what has been happening in other games. We'll see if there's any differences between how I'm handling what you're doing versus how you're handling other players. If there's any lab work we need to do, we could take a look at that potentially. I kind of doubt it, mostly because I'm not an Aki player, and I feel like for Aki, most of the lab work is going to be like for the conversions, like the jungle combos and stuff. So we'll
hmm
see what's up there, and then if we have time, we'll run it back after another first three if that works for you. If there's time.
yeah, sounds good.
Cool, man. So go ahead and queue up. I'm going to def it in Discord, mostly because I talk a lot during these. I don't want to influence anything you're doing. I
All
also may not
right,
rematch right away as I kind of continue articulating thoughts for the stream, so that if you decide to watch this VOD back later, you'll see what I was thinking during our set. So good luck.
all right. Thank you.
Make sure I'm on Ken. All right, cool. Hey, Flash. So Ancross is a very, very strong sim player. They beat me in the beef belt in the first of seven. We ran a very good BLKO set, which hopefully we showcase. We'll see. No spoilers. But they have a very strong zoning sim, right? So they're playing a character that they probably aren't. I mean, they got 1600, right? So they know how to play the game, obviously know how to play this character. But maybe there's something different about how this is working for them versus how it works for sim, right? So that's super strong, right? The parry after the double kicks. It's -3, so it's auto timed. Oh, okay. So obviously there's not a problem, right? I couldn't deal with the corner carry once I was in there. I made a couple of mistakes against the bubble. Walk up throw. Oops. So obviously Ancross is a fantastic player, right? I don't know if there's anything I can really point out other than a couple of corner situations, maybe a different defensive decision can be made. That time just losing to the jump. Corner defense on Aki is really tough. Oh. Oh, the jab didn't come out. A lot of jump back. Oh, that was a nice eyeball read. Oh, am I dead? I'm not dead. Yeah, that was unfortunate for him. I think he would have killed. That should have killed me probably if I had a little less life. Maybe the poison saved me. But I will say that Aki's defensive options here do get kind of limited when they don't have meter. Although he did have super there, so I wonder if going for D-Rev instead of going for like other things here. No, does that combo? Oh, that's a sweep. So the way I'm winning, I feel like right now, is that Ken just fishes for a hit, puts you in the corner, and then really where I'm winning is like the kind of mix-up game, right? Because I don't think I'm winning too many neutral interactions overall. But when I do win them, my corner offense probably has more potency than like Aki's offense, I guess. So that time I think some of the awkwardness, I guess, comes from like how do you fight your way out of the corner when you don't have like teleport or other options, right? We have to look at some of Aki's buttons, I think, on how we would fight out of the corner in a stable-ish manner. Like they could have jumped or done anything else, like slide or whatever. But those are kind of high risk options, right? So I could anti-air, I could react to the slide and try to throw them, or I can option select against it, right? So. Oh, nice jump. Oh, that was a sick low. So my mistake there was trying to get out of throw range by holding back instead of crouch blocking, waiting for an opportunity to have some space. Oh, no DP. Oh, wait. That was a light. Dang it. Is that gonna reach? That was sick. I'm pretty sure that kills me. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I mean, there I didn't anti-air one spot, and they got clipped, right? And obviously they can convert that as well as they need to, right? So I think like if I had to point out again how I'm winning here is that the neutral feels kind of uncomfortable, right? If he's not able to do this, baited that time. But if he's not able to do that, I can see why he's having issues, right? Like if I stand at this range right here, well, that was nice fire, nice leap. Yeah. So again, I think if they're able to jump, and I don't DP them, or get around some of the neutral stuff. Oh, that's an unfortunate whiff. I wonder... I need to be option select against that, right? So if I don't option select against the, whatchamacallit, the coward crouch into the roll, into the grab instead of the kicks, that's how I'm going to lose every time, right? There's a mix there, obviously. For some reason I can't punish that sweep. That time I think they pressed on the plus frames, maybe expecting or maybe missed a delay jab, I'm not sure. Yeah, this is not, I'm not really finding anything like particularly wrong. I mean, look how close this is, right? Like it's not like I'm... The one time he goes for the throw. Oh. Uh-oh. That's an unfortunate interaction, I think. I just jump over the leap. Let's bring it back on. I've never seen that interaction at the end there where I jump into the leap.
Oh yeah, it whiffs all the time.
I know. I was just thinking about that too. Right when I did the jump, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be bad if they anti-air me." And then once you leaped, I was like, "Huh, I guess it doesn't hit me." So, but yeah, I see what you mean though. I feel like some of the uncomfortableness, if you will, in neutral is really just because it's like, okay, if I'm standing outside of their effective sweep range, I can fireball drive rush no problem, right? They have to deal with that mix-up. But if they're standing inside of like Ken's low forward range, what do I do? Right? I can't throw a fireball because I jumped on. I can't really press as many like buttons, I guess, and you get whiff punished, right? And then I think some of it too, some of the corner stuff, but I think that's kind of secondary. Like being able to defend the corner against Ken is, I think, pretty straightforward. It's just that obviously you have to guess in those situations, recognize setups and whatnot. But Aki also doesn't have as many options, right? There's no, I mean, it's kind of like Sim, right? You don't really have a I guess Aki does have the level 1, which will work. She can also slide to kind of get out of it. But you don't really have like a true reversal until you have level 1, right? So
yeah.
Let's take a look at, I think game 2, I think, is probably the one we want to look at. So let me just bring it up. I'm going to share my screen in Discord. I know you're on PS5 right now probably, but if you can
Yeah, I'm going to switch over to my phone for the replay.
Okay, gotcha. So I should be able to hopefully see that. I want to say it was probably this one. Might highlight it. So let's take a look at this guy.
All right, I can see you.
Perfect. All right, so again, I think it kind of comes down to how well you can navigate the low forward range, and I'm not really an Aki player, so I'll have to take a look at some of the actual move list here. Just give me a sec. But let's take a look here. Yeah, so like this range.
Watch stream blocks me out.
What's that?
It's blocking me out when I click watch stream. I'm
Really?
gonna just pull you up on Twitch on my laptop real quick.
Okay, no problem. It'll be a little bit delayed. I'll try to do my best to give you a little bit of time in between. So.
Yeah.
Cool. One sec here. Yeah, sometimes the phone thing just doesn't doesn't work the same. Like if you're on multiple mediums or whatever. So anyway.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, just let me know when you can see me and ready to go.
Yeah, I see you.
Cool. All right. So what I was saying is that from this range here, this is pretty comfortable for you, probably, right? You'd be able to throw a fireball. You'd be able to throw an OD fireball, drive rush behind it, all that good stuff, right? And be able to get in, kind of skip neutral. So kind of eat it here. So this neutral skip, the leap or whatever, I think it works pretty well if the opponent's, like anything else, if they're not ready for it. But it is susceptible, especially against a character with like a good DP here, to get anti-aired pretty easily, right? Like this loses pretty easy to, even lost it with Dragon Lash, right? So like, right, this hitbox is a little bit awkward, I think, for that. So if it's working, continue doing it, and I think it'll continue to work for a while, probably. So if it's working, continue doing it. But yeah, I think like defaulting this probably is going to be tough sledding if you have only this, right? I mean, obviously it's worth trying to see what would happen, and I think you do get me with it a bunch, so it's fine. But yeah. Okay, maybe this wasn't the round I was thinking of. Okay, here we go. So I think like one of the things that Aki players, at least when I play against Aki players, they're really good at like maintaining the pressure here. Right, they'll go for media options, that type of thing. Because I think Aki has some pretty good setups after this up chain here. Pretty sure this is like what's the advantage here?
Yeah, this is like plus 44.
Yeah, something like that, right? So you could jump. I guess you can't safe jump this, obviously, but you have some setups after this that can go. You can continue with media pressure, strike, throw, that type of thing. I did notice that you defaulted generally to not doing that, at least in this game. Maybe this is game 2. Maybe there was a change in your side, but I did notice that you didn't really go for a ton of meaty strike throw type stuff. There's a lot of like shimmy, this type neutral jump, and that type of thing. Clearly, I'm not doing anything, right? I'm just like blocking and waiting, so might be a good chance to try to throw and open me up. That is something that I think people probably don't do enough of, really, is enforcing that strike throw and just throwing people, right? Because I think a lot of people try to just default to shimmying or doing other options, trying to bait reversals. But against like someone that isn't reversaling, this is just giving up pressure, right? So if anything, I could anti-air you here, and then all of a sudden now, I can do something, right? So
yeah, so like my thinking when I was fighting you is that every time I got the knockdown with heavy whip, I was just trying to condition you into just start attacking, and so that's why I would throw, and when you start attacking I would shimmy, and then I saw that you backdash a couple times, so that's when I started throwing the meaty, and I got perfect parried, so I went back away from that.
Yeah, and it's just how it goes, right? I mean, you're rotating options, obviously. We're both playing rock, paper, scissors, right? Trying to get through. And I think that sometimes on offense, it's a little bit weird, and it's kind of something I've been realizing more and more, is that like I tend to favor specific options, and I only rotate away from them once they stop working. Like I don't really like the conditioning aspect, for me anyway, doesn't really happen until like 4 or 5 interactions deep. Like I tend to just pick the same 2 or 3 options until they show me that they're adapting to it. Because I think like you had gone for either the shimmy or like you had tried to catch me back, walking backwards a couple of times, and you did catch me with that. But then there was one interaction, I think it was game 5, where I had been holding back against a lot of the heel kick pressure, and then the one time that you went for throw, I was still holding back and ended up punishing you for it, right? So like it's kind of interesting, because like I feel like me as a player anyway, is like I'm kind of stubborn on defense, where I'll just continue picking the same kind of safe-ish option and let the opponent change what they're doing because they feel like it, right? Or like, oh, I have to adapt, or I have to change my offense because that they think this is coming. And sometimes I just don't do that, and then this is what resulted in this interaction, right? Is that, you know, I was just able to anti-air you. So I don't know. Maybe it's an adjustment you just need to make player to player. Hard to say though. Oh, and this was the other thing I noticed too, was that I feel like Aki's corner kind of fighting her way out is really, really hard. Right? I feel like maybe you're not comfortable with like how the buttons ranges and like being able to play this neutral this game, this part of the game without being able to back up, right? So the thing that I see a lot of Aki players hit me with is like the crouching medium kick, and then the is it the crouching medium punch? Let me see what button it is. Oh, stand medium kick. So those two are the things that I feel like I get hit by the most. Like in neutral generally, just getting poked with those buttons. So I didn't see a ton of stand medium kick if I'm not mistaken, but let's see the replay and see what happens.
Yeah, I don't use that button as much as I should, just because it's not cancelable, and I'm not really at like that footsie's poke level, especially since I've been playing Dhalsim. I haven't really played a footsie's character ever.
Gotcha. But the thing is, like with Aki especially, I think when you use that poke effectively, even though it's not cancelable, it's susceptible to DI, all that stuff, I think the idea, and this is something that Sim does this too, just to a very large extent actually, is that you're controlling space, right? So with a Sim, typically you're standing full screen and you're controlling space with yoga arches, yoga fireballs, and like your normals, right? So like you represent a lot of space control, such to the point where I have to like navigate that to walk in just to get close to be able to hit you, right? And I think with Aki and like other quote unquote footsies characters in general, although Aki is a little more set play-ish, but whatever, you're trying to control that same space in the way that she can, right? So when she does like the stand medium kick and like the crouching medium kick, those represent like space control to about where my mouse cursor is, right? So I can't really walk effectively into this range without the risk of getting hit, right? Like if I walk into this, you would just press your button and hit me, right? Same thing with a Sim, right? Except for Sim, obviously it's all the way over here instead, right? Like if I walk into that range, you just hit me with something longer reaching, right? Same idea though. And the idea is to, if you control that space, it makes me hesitate on trying to walk in. So like if you look at this sequence here, and I'll let this play out for a bit. Right? I'm just trying to get into your space to elicit some kind of response, right? So after this happens, right? You whiff the, what is this, the back or forward heavy kick, right? And then I just kind of punish it with a jab, right? I don't do the best punish here. I should have converted that into something better, but that's the idea, right? Is that like I kind of invaded your space, made you uncomfortable, forced you to commit to an option that maybe is a little bit more committal than it probably needs to be, and then punished you for it, right? Obviously, my punish wasn't great here, and I just get a throw out of this, and that's something I need to work on. But the idea is the same, right? I'm trying to get you to respond with something. And then if and when it whiffs, I can try to punish this, right? So using something less committal, like a stand medium kick or a crouching medium kick, is probably going to be a little bit better. Mostly because it's actually harder to punish, obviously. It's less committal, and you can throw it out a little bit faster, right? It doesn't take 14 frames to start up, right? So, and then the idea is to push me back, right? So every time you land a hit on me, even if it's blocked, every time you're able to gain a little bit of that space back, that's a win in my opinion in this type of situation, right? Because you're not Sim where you can float, teleport away, or like do something else. You have to fight for that space to get back so that you can play your neutral game again, right? Because neutral game with these types of characters involve you needing to have to back up to create space potentially, right? So when I take that away from you by putting you in the corner, all of a sudden that option is no longer there, and you're like, oh crap, now what do? I can't whiff punish, I can't do anything without potentially getting hit, right? So that means that you have to take a little risk, maybe walk up with some less committal buttons, right? So back heavy might be a little too committal in that scenario. The spacing is probably okay for it. I'm kind of standing far away. And if I'd walked forward here potentially, maybe that hits me, right? But I was kind of far, right? So if you look at like this distance here, right, I'm kind of backing up, and you kind of let this rip. And this reaches about here, right? So I'm definitely standing, even if I didn't move at all, I probably was standing a little too far for this in the first place, right? So might just be a spacing thing, trying to figure out how to manage that space better. What I see Akis always do is
no thought process behind that.
Sorry, go ahead. Hey, go ahead.
There was no thought process behind throwing that button out.
It was like, all right, if this hits, I'm plus, let's go, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that can work too sometimes, right? So like if I'm not expecting this and this comes out and is able to tag me, I have to hold that, right? Because this button is like +2 or something on block or whatever, right? So if that happens, then all of a sudden it is your turn. You're close enough, maybe not close enough to do strike throw, but you're plus, right? It is your turn. So I'd have to guess against that potentially. But yeah, that's typically what I end up seeing is that like you see Aki's doing like the crouching medium kick and stand medium kicks to try to create some space. And then once you're able to push me back, you can go for the fireballs and leaps and stuff like that. You can also do something riskier like jump or slide underneath. Those two things do kind of work well, especially like from right here. So after this happens... So clearly right here, jumping is tough, right? Like I'm standing at a spot where I'll be able to anti-air you, and if you slide here, I'll be standing at a spot where I can punish you for it, right? So those options probably aren't going to work for you here. But after this part, right here, if you guess throw, right, you can jump or slide, right? So Aki unfortunately does lose to the OS here, right? So if I do a jab into throw from here, it will either do 2 jabs or it will grab your snake step, right? So it's a little tough. Maybe you can try it, and maybe I don't OS it. But yeah, I feel like if you're gonna if you read throw, a jump would probably be a good idea right here. I go for jab instead, so that would hit you either way. I do notice you mash a lot though, in some of these situations, like especially mid screen.
Yeah, that's my biggest issue. Is just everyone always tells me I need to jab way less, and I just never learn.
Yeah, and to your credit and to my fault, I suppose I didn't really adapt to that all too much. I just figured maybe that was like a mistimed delay jab, or maybe they were mashing, hoping I was doing something else. But yeah, a lot of the mid screen stuff, it does get me a lot actually, because me as a player tend to go for like tick throw setups and like not tick throw but jab throw setups, and this will beat that every time, right? It'll beat the walk up and stuff. So if it's working, great. But yeah, this is it's tough to jab early, right? Now again, if you're jabbing in response to like a specific thing that you noticed me doing over and over again on offense, I think it's totally fine. But yeah, jab does lose to a lot of the common options, right? So anyway, yeah, see right there, right? So that crouching medium kick right there hit me, right? So jab, a little bit of space back. Even though you're minus here, I can't really challenge or press anything, and if I do, I'll probably get hit. And that's exactly what happens, right? So, and then the sweep here though, like that was probably a little too far. I like the idea though. If that had hit me, obviously that's good, but it might be a little far. So it's just a spacing thing, I think.
Yeah, that one, it's not a sweep. I just use it to catch people walking forward because it's low committal and safe on block.
Right, it's the crouching heavy punch, right? Or which button?
Yeah, crouching heavy punch. It's a sweep.
Yeah, that's the sweep. So this one is just the -3, right? Yeah, okay, gotcha. So I think it's fine to do that. It doesn't cause knockdown. It's like a juggle state or something, I think. Anyway. So at any rate, I think it would have been fine to, it's fun to throw that out. I think it's like the spacing was probably appropriate about anyway. Maybe if you had moved up a little bit. So after this, right? Maybe like after hitting me here, you're plus, right? So you could try moving a little bit and then doing it again, or going for the crouching heavy punch at that point, or crouching heavy kick at that point. Because again, hitting me here is really good for you, right? This is like exactly what you need to happen. It's just that you need to take up a little bit more space and be willing to take a little risk here, right? Because you're stuck in the corner, right? So you have to, unfortunately, take a little bit of risk to try to get some of that space back. Because that's ultimately how Aki's going to win, is that you put me in the corner instead, right? So, or maybe go for a jump, maybe a little too far for a jump. But you could have tried to do something like move forward, take up space here. I think the Swift is okay, though. I don't punish it, so it's fine. But you're unfortunately still stuck in the corner.
Yeah.
right? And then the jab there gets whiff punished, right? So, but yeah, I think like that round really kind of boiled down to like getting trapped in the corner there, not being able to jump out. So I do think that, again, the most stable way for most characters to fight their way out of the corner is to use their better buttons to try to create space. And then once they create that space that they can work with, then it's like, oh, let me try to jump out of the corner or do something else, play a little bit of neutral, even though it's unfair neutral, to try to get out, right? Get back to mid-screen so that you can do the fireball drive rushes and the leaps and all that good stuff, right? So let's move it on to here. See what happens on this one. Yeah, that's tough, man. Like, I feel for you on the Aki side, because it's like, if I'm playing this range, I react to this, right? And yeah, it sucks. See, that was good. That was a good, like, whiff punish, right? Using that to get over my heavy punch. Let's see what happened there. So that was just a walk up, I think, right? So you landed the crouching medium kick. After this, walk up jab, I think, what happens. Right, so you're plus here. I can't press anything. Now he moves, so now I can press because we're both back to neutral, and then I just press my jab, right? I thought it would counter hit, which is why this comes out. Because a lot of times what Akis will do there is they'll go for a throw, right? Walk up throw. Which just looks like you were trying to do. But maybe the throw didn't come out in time.
Just a little late.
Yeah. Which actually worked out better for you, right? Because if that throw did come out, that's a counter hit on my part.
Would have been back in the corner.
Yeah. So anyway, driver's throw is not garbage, it was BS. Right? Like, come on, this is ridiculous, but I do it all the time.
You hit me with that a lot, and I just kept parrying it every time.
Yeah, because Ken's drive rush is scary, right? It's like, oh man, he's coming in, he's gonna jab me, and then I have to deal with all of that mix-up stuff. But what I've seen a lot of players do here is reversal through this. So like, well, maybe it doesn't make sense here because of the drive you're at right here. But I've seen, like, you know, de-revving against that drive rush is usually a good option in terms of meter expenditure, right? So I have to spend 3 bars versus your 2. You'll be up a bar in terms of expenditure. But this would put you closer to burnout, so maybe it doesn't make sense. But yeah, it's, you know, that's the mix-up that Ken gets, unfortunately, right? So
yeah.
All right, so we're stuck in the corner again. So I think this is fine, right? This is the way you got to do it. It's just that I think once you land some of the stuff on block, you got to try to walk up, because what happens here is after this, I press kind of a slow button and you counter hit me here. So actually this worked out. But I think like not being able to take up the space after might be what's giving you a hard time here. So be willing to kind of push
like I got the
out.
counter hit and then jump back.
Yeah. So, because if you counter hit me here, right? And then you could have jumped at me or done something else, and maybe I answer you, maybe I don't. But I feel like instead of doing that, you could have just walked up to about here-ish, maybe. Still outside of Ken's crouching medium kick range-ish, right? Like, his crouching medium would be about here, more or less. But if you now have a character length to work with, right? So imagine if you walk forward into my crouching medium kick range, bait me into doing crouching medium kick and whiff punish me with the Aurum button, like that would be ideal, right? That would be perfect for what you want to try to do. So
yeah.
But I think for Aki though, in terms of like her whiff punish button, it's not really crouching medium kick, right? You have to do something like a crouching medium punch, or I think that's probably the best button for that, right? Crouching medium punch, probably, because that's the cancelable one, right? Crouching medium punch, and like I want to say that's kind of it, right? Like, she doesn't have a lot of cancelable buttons.
Yeah, well, I mean, for whiff punch specifically, crouch heavy kick gets a crush counter, so I can do a drive rush and get out of there.
You get a setup off of that, yeah. So that could be a thing as well. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't play hockey, so I can't tell you exactly, but that would be the idea, right? Is that if you can, you have like from this position right here, if you were standing right where this SF6 banner is, that's enough space to be able to play neutral, right? Play footsies, right? Because you can walk in and walk out of my range, try to bait something, right? Now, of course, you know, obviously me on the other side wants to keep you there, so I'm probably going to walk forward or play my own footsies game against you to try to see if I can get you to whiff a button or whatever, right? But that's the game, right? That's footsie's footsie's the game, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
But that's the game you kind of have to play, because if you jump back here, right, like it allowed me to move up into basically Ken's crouching medium punch range, right? So now it's like this is difficult for you to press anything. So, right, and then yeah, see that, like it's like I'm standing at a range where it's kind of hard for you to press. If you press anything, it seems like I'm able to counter hit you and just kind of reading that rhythm. But yeah, that jump back is probably what allowed this next sequence to happen. So try to get out, didn't work. Press some buttons. Right. So, but yeah, I think like that whole sequence, it just kind of highlights like how difficult it is to play in the corner. But I think the approach needs to be, I think you have the right idea on the approach. It's just that I think some of the buttons you're not fully comfortable with yet, or being able to kind of take the small advantage that you get, you know, when you hit somebody in the corner, right? When you're corner, you hit someone, like be willing to move forward a little bit to try to take up that space. Because in that situation, had you not jumped, right, maybe potentially I don't move forward, or maybe I still do, but even if I move forward, now you can contest it with like the stand medium kick or stand medium punch, right? And if you land stand medium punch, I want to say that's cancelable, right? So you can drive rush behind that. So, right?
Yeah, it's cancelable and hit confirmable.
Yeah, so you can confirm that into something, drive rush into something, whatever, but you know, that button is decent, has a little bit of a disjoint as well, right? So I think it's worth trying to do that instead of trying to jump back, right? Because again, the jump back doesn't really gain you anything in that scenario, right? So anyway, and then from there is just, you know, convert into super or whatever. So let's take a look at one of the ones you won here and see what was working for you. I think a lot of the ones you did win was because of the neutral interactions where I wasn't able to defend the neutral skips, right? So let's take a look at.
Yeah, it's just this fireball driver is just stupid.
Yeah, it's so good, right? It's so good. So abuse it. Like, don't get me wrong, folks, if you're watching, if you have an abusable tool, abuse the crap out of it. Like, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But yeah, it is kind of dumb. Let's take a look here. Yep, good answer. Right, so in this case, I didn't elect to derev here. And I think it's because you had punished me the previous time. So you actually baited me with something prior, right? So typically when Akis do use OD Fireball here, I'm generally ready or willing to derev against the drive rush coming in. But once the Aki realizes that's happening, then it's like, oh crap, now it's a mix-up, right? But a lot of Akis will autopilot this. So,
yeah.
Right, so cross me up here, wasn't able to, I read back movement instead of jump, so that's on me. Right, good conversion here. Go for throw. But I backdashed it, right? So, but I think you still get me because I end up pressing something that I probably shouldn't have, which was stand heavy punch, right? So even though I'm +1 here and get away with this, I probably should be pressing something like a crouching medium punch or something faster. Because you tag me with a jab here. Zaki's crouching jab is pretty good, right? So that's enough to deal with that. Good answer. Driver slow. It's good stuff, right? So I'm trying to back up out of pressure here, assuming you're going to go for something that'll, you know, push you back or whatever. Game with the low here. This should confirm into a combo, right? Yep. Right. So you saw that the whole time, this whole kind of sequence that you won from, right? Predicated on two things. One was the jump in. This trade. Right here, and then the driver slow, right? Right. So, again, like all of this was kind of quote unquote neutral skip, even though, you know, it's still neutral, right? But if if you can't defend against this, you're going to get steamrolled by Aki, right? So pretty indicative of, I think, what's happening in most of your ranked games when the person can't deal with like drive rushes and fireballs, right? So
yeah,
which yeah makes a ton of sense, right? Like this playstyle works really well in this game. So and so here I was sensing, I think they want to leap. Let's see if I react to it when it comes out, if it comes out. Yeah, so what I will say here is that contesting some of this space with stand medium kick and stand medium punch is probably the right thing to do. Because if you look at what happens here, right, I'm not really doing anything like neutral skip E or like drive rush or anything. All I'm kind of doing is just trying to walk you to the corner, right? Plan to hit here. Right, there's no buttons being pressed and you've been moved back a quarter of the screen, right? So I think like being willing to stand in that stand medium kick range and go for like stand medium kicks and stand medium punches is probably more correct. Again, mostly because you're losing a lot of space here, right? Because Ken will win if I get you to the corner. So if you can test me walking up a little bit better using those buttons that you have, that might work better. So I think you do try this, right? You do use the crouching heavy punch here, or sorry, crouching heavy kick, right? Try to get some space. I think that was forward heavy or something like that, yeah. I think it's just heavy. Does he have a forward? It's not a command normal, right? I don't think so. Oh,
yes, he has a forward heavy.
Yeah, forward heavy. The 16. It's like it's pretty committal though, right? 16 frames or something.
Yeah, but you can hit confirm it.
Yeah. So, you know, it's tough to win neutral with those slower buttons if you don't have the range for it, right? So like with Sim, you'd be standing all the way back here. It doesn't matter that it's 20 frames, right? It's gonna reach all the way across and all that good stuff. But being a little too close means that buttons could get stuffed, right? So that's kind of what happens here. Is that after this here. Right, so after that happens, the stand heavy kick is blocked. You're +5, so that's really good. But you're standing in a space where like a 5-framer probably won't reach, right? So you walk up, go for this really big button, right? And I'm reacting to the walk up. So I'm waiting for something to happen here after, because I'm minus here, right? So I can't really press unless I want to try to space trap you here. But you haven't really been pressing, you know, immediately after this, right? So I can't space trap someone that's not pressing the button, right? And you know, and you're pretty aware, like this, you know, your jab's not going to reach, right? You're not going to mash anything here. So, you know, you just walk up and press your button. But since I see this, I just crouch and press my fast-ish button, 6-framer, and it should ideally, hopefully, stuff anything you're doing, right? Now, my problem here is I don't confirm this. So I should actually be, you know, buffering something behind this when I do that. I don't, but that's what happened here, right? Is that you pressed the button that was a little bit slower. Now, had you done something else here, maybe something like, let's see, right about here. I think if you had done something else, maybe go for something like this, right? Stand medium kick might be better. If we try to do something like a stand medium punch, maybe that works. Well, maybe that is.
I think that gets low profile.
Oh, am I pressing the wrong button? Yeah. So something like that could be the way to go. So yeah, that's what I mean though, right? Is that like if you had walked up and pressed something faster, potentially that beats what I'm trying to do, right? At least that has a chance. So maybe I don't press right away, or maybe I'm out of range, or you can whiff punish or whatever, but pressing something a little bit faster in that space would probably have worked better. It wouldn't have gotten counter hit at least, right? And maybe you land the hit, in which case, you know, crouch, stand medium punch hits, in which case you drive rush behind it, convert, all that good stuff, like buffer behind it. Or you press a stand medium kick and it counter hits me. I don't know if she gets a conversion there, but, you know, you poked me effectively, right? It stopped what I'm doing. So now the next time that same interaction happens, I'll hesitate when it comes to pressing my button. And that now allows you to maybe walk up throw or walk up and do something else, right? Or potentially it makes me feel like I have to press sooner, in which case you'd be able to whiff punish me, right? So that part, I don't know how I would have reacted had you done that, because it didn't happen, right? But that's like the footsies aspect, is that you're constantly playing this like rock, paper, scissors game where you're constantly trying to get the other person to commit or do something that you could try to punish, right? Because I'm doing the same thing to you, right? I'm trying to get you to do stuff, or I'm trying to bait stuff, right? All that's happening. It's just that, you know, the space control itself is what dictates that. So standing closer, further should dictate what buttons you can and can't press most of the time, right? So anyway, which you get counter hit there. And again, I don't confirm this. I should be buffering behind this. I don't. All this meter, whatever. All right. And so you're in the corner now, right? So that was like 2 or 3 interactions, unfortunately, that even though you won a couple of them, you hit me. Because of, you know, Ken's drive rush and some other stuff, you end up in the corner here. Let's see how you get out. Okay, nice tech. And I don't DP this, right? So I tried. It didn't come out. But that worked, right? So it's good. I want to say there's a setup after this.
Yeah, double dash forward. You're plus
okay.
A little bit.
Plus enough, sure. Works out. I can't press. I mean, I generally assume that there's some sort of setup here, so I don't generally press, like, unless I recognize it. So, but this is good though. You walk up, hit a button, gain a little space back, right? I just block. But now you know that I'm blocking potentially in this situation, right? So next time this happens, maybe go for a throw, maybe try to do something else, right? So, and then I just kind of parried behind this because you had been jabbing after your button here, but unfortunately, I go for the wrong punish. Good. Good pick up. Right, and this is beautiful, right? So you had a space where fireball is going to work. You catch me trying to contest, right? This was a bad fireball on my part here. This drive rush is coming no matter what I do. Punish counter, beautiful. Right. So yeah, I mean, I lost that round because of 2 bad decisions, right? And 1 failed anti-air, right? So that there was bad. This whiff was bad, right? And then a bad fireball from full screen, right? So, but yeah, I mean, again, this round, you did really well when the neutral skip stuff was working, and I basically fell to that. But if you look at the beginning of the round here, from here, I was kind of able to effectively walk you back, right? And that's kind of where I think you were struggling. So, but yeah, I do think contesting the space a little bit better is probably what you need to do, or at least start incorporating in, so that I can't just like walk forward, right? That's probably the only thing I would say is like needs to change. Like otherwise, you know, the corner pressure when I did fall in the corner was great. I think like the neutral skip stuff works really well, and your conversions are really good, obviously. So like it really just comes down to contesting me a little bit more neutral. And then a little bit of the corner defense stuff, which kind of goes hand in hand, right? Being able to press the right buttons at the right spacing. In neutral in the corner is kind of the same idea. It's just in the corner you're taking more risk. So. All right, cool. So and then I lose this round. So cool. All right. Hey guys in chat, welcome in. All right, so let me take a look at one of the replays you sent me. Ooh, where did they go? Oh, the replays disappeared. Am I tripping? You posted. I swear you posted replays, right? Let me see here.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I can get them back up real quick.
Yeah, I should just grab one so we could take a look at it and see if what you're running into against me is similar. I would assume it is if it's at the same kind of level, but take a look. Could have sworn I had it. And while we're waiting for that, welcome in, guys. Thanks for coming in to the stream, watching and enjoying another episode of Sit Down, Shut Up.
Just a second, I just surfed through a whole bunch of Dhalsim matches.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Take your time, take your time.
So this was the first game in a 1-to-5 with Bareface.
Okay. Oh man, Bareface is so sick, dude.
Yeah.
That guy is too good. All right, let's take a look here.
Yeah.
All right, so Bareface plays a pretty strong neutral game, right? Like he doesn't really go for a bunch of crazy things. He just zones you, and then hits you with a crouching medium kick or stand heavy punch somehow, and then all of a sudden in the corner, right? So let's see what happens.
Yeah.
See, like, basically in the first 3 seconds, you've given up like a quarter of the space of the screen, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like I said, my game plan is just set up space for fireball drive rush.
Right, and a lot
Rennie just takes it right out the gate.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that tends to happen, or at least it's something that at least I've noticed, is that when Akis do that, it's just all you have to do is walk forward, right? Because it shuts down the ability for them to throw the fireball safely, right? So once you can't throw that fireball, there's no risk of that. The only thing you can do is try to win in neutral, right? And if the Aki isn't wanting to play that, then all you have to do is walk forward, right? So like what Bareface does here is he just shuts down your fireball game by holding forward, right? So again, it's really tough because, obviously a fantastic player, knows his ranges, knows his spaces. So he's standing at a space where if you try to throw a fireball, it's pretty dangerous to do so, right? Like you could jump Aki's fireball on reaction almost, right? So all of a sudden now you're having to deal with Ryu pressure, right? So see what happens. Good D-Rev. I like it. Unfortunately, you get parried here. So I think this would have parried you had you gone for anything, really. But it is something to note, right? It's like, oh, he parried the fireball, went for perfect parry after. So now it's like, now I can change up my drive rush. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Throws you. What's up? Good. Oh, thought I heard something. And you go for the jabs here. I think you land one of them though. Right? I don't think he was expecting you to wake up jab, so you get one. I think you can counter hit confirm this into up chain, right? So you get a second jab. But instead you jump. So let's see what happens. Okay. I don't mind this because this actually worked on me, right? So if Bareface or Ryu, I'll say Ryu, decided to take their turn back here and went for a button here for whatever reason, you'd cross them up, right? So I don't mind this decision, but I do think going for up chain here is probably a little bit more consistent overall, right? You take the guaranteed damage into a setup, right? So
yeah, I just don't have my hit confirms locked in with Aki.
Gotcha. Something to work through. I mean, just lab work, but yeah, that up chain setup is pretty good, right? The 44 or whatever it is. So anyway.
Yeah.
Good mix. Get DP'd. That's you went for media, they reversaled. It's life.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened all set is he just reversaled and then threw me when I baited it.
Yeah.
On the fireball dive rush attempt, so.
Yeah, somehow he knows, right? I don't know what it is, something in the water over there, but he's able to do it. But
yeah.
I mean, I think forcing the guess situation is the correct thing to do, right? Taking the Oki, because eventually he's going to be wrong, hopefully. And you think about risk reward wise, right? Like you block one EXTP, that's 3,000 damage plus against him, whereas he reversals once, you take 1,400 damage or whatever that should be if it's not modern input, and be done with it, right? We'll go back to neutral and deal with that. So the risk reward is definitely in your favor. Sure. Good.
I don't really know what all of her reversal bait options are, which again is just more lab work.
Yeah.
I know with Dhalsim I can just rush back teleport, but I don't have that here. So
yeah, and some of it's kind of dead simple, right? Just like drive rush jab to stop your momentum and then block. Or I'm sure she has other.
Are you plus enough to do that?
I think so. Let's see.
Some of those things need to lab out.
Yeah, I wonder. Maybe not. Maybe not from this distance. Yeah, maybe not. Right, from this distance, maybe not. Yeah, it's still punish counters. So, more lab work, I suppose. You could also elect not to drive rush, just dash up, maybe do something else. Again, you'd have to go through the motions there and figure out what makes sense overall. Because it looks like maybe this is something Bareface knows, is that after that command grab, if you drive rush, that EXDP is guaranteed, right? So if that's the case, then maybe you can't really use that against someone that's shown you reversal. Do something like this, maybe. I mean, like. Yeah, I don't think you can. I don't think there's any way for you to get away with that. So maybe that's just a matchup thing that Bareface is aware of, right? So Anyway. Right, so to have to take the solar plexus. Right, Alexa shimmy. There's the jab. And then he tried to space trap you with the sanity punch, right? Wish punish a little bit here. So again, I think the wake up jab can be kind of a tough habit to break, I think, if it's been working for you. I do think that if you red shimmy, you could go for a wake up low of some kind. That could be a thing. Or like not to press. Now again, it doesn't quite matter here because you block it anyway. Right? Don't take a turn back. Because I think if you do press something a little bit slower, like a stand medium punch or something else, it might get clipped by that. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is like Ryu gameplay though, right? It's like, let me get some plus frames and see what you do with like my solar plexus or whatever. But yeah, I mean, you do have to guess, I think, in that scenario. Again, if you're reading shimmy, you could go for a button here. You go for a jab, kind of hedge your bet a little bit, nothing happens. So I think it's okay. Successfully defended because you didn't take any extra damage. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, that's unfortunate for he whips the throw. That's unfortunate. So plus 11 here. I don't think. Do you have something you can punish with it? Probably. Maybe not. I don't know. You have to look at it. 11 frames. Anyway. High enough where the throws, you're still airborne when he goes for throw, unfortunately. So it worked out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that must be something he sees in terms of distance or spacing. Because it looks like from this spacing. Right. Let's see, I think it should be. Nope. What's the auto button? Is it this one? There we go. Right. So it must be something he sees space-wise or notices space-wise, because that distance you could bait a DP. Right. So that must be something to consider there after that throw, that spacing, is that Aki is able to bait a DP there. So that might be why he decides to parry here, right? So, you know, something to consider. Anyway. Oh. Fortunately, he parries, because... and then you go for the jab here instead of reacting to the parry, which is totally fine. I mean, if you're going for a jab no matter what, it's okay, I guess.
Yeah, that was a delayed jab to bait a reversal.
Gotcha. And that must be something he knows, or at least was aware of, that the reversal would not work against the driver share, so maybe that's why he likes not to do it. So.
Yeah, like I said, we did a lot of playing together, so he has a pretty good idea on my habits on when I like to bait reversals and when I like to commit.
Mm-hmm. And what's interesting too, and something I think doesn't get talked about enough, is that the kind of unconsciously or subconsciously, if you will, that space that was there is kind of what dictated that option, right? Whether you're aware of it or not, you knew that from here you wanted, like after this throw, like you knew you wanted to try to bait a DP, and maybe you were realizing it or not, but like the space kind of allows you to do that. Like if you were standing here, I don't know if that drive rush, similar to the last interaction, you're probably not trying to bait a DP anymore, right? Like it's too close now. So, and you just have to consider that in these scenarios where you're using drive rush and meter to close the gap, that the opponent can also see how much space is there, and that should dictate some of the options coming in and out, right? So,
yeah, that's an interesting thing to think about.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was sick. Oh, what did he do? Oh, he tried to tech. Okay, cool. So conversion here. Right. Yeah. So I'm not sure what game this set this was. I think you said it was.
Oh, this was the first one.
Okay. I don't think you've gone for a throw yet, right? If I look through this, I don't think I've seen. Let's see. Maybe one.
I think you're right.
Okay. Okay, command grab, but not quite the same thing, I suppose.
Yeah.
Get TP'd. Oh yeah, here's the other throw. But this was because you were trying to delay tech out of this, right? And his throw whiffs. So not quite the same thing, right? But the plus situations you had, you didn't go for throw, right? So that one you didn't. Right. So if I'm bareface here, I don't expect a throw coming, right? I don't think I would go for the delay tech here, and he doesn't, right? He just waits, and then you get DP'd, right? So that's one of those things where I think rotation of offensive options might have happened a little too early here, right? Like kind of outthinking yourself, and some of that. and it's funny too, man, because this happens to me all the time. Like I run into guys like Shog or other people that are like 1700, 1800 plus, and I'm like, oh, I got to outthink them. I got to be better in like all the aspects of my game just to be able to hang with them. And then they beat me because I outthink myself. I'm like, oh, let me do something fancy here. And then they just block, don't fall for the bait. And then I get like blown up for it, right? So
yeah, just getting caught in that they know that I know loop.
Yeah, right. It's like, oh man, they're gonna think this, I'm gonna think that, right? It's I think it's like that shouldn't happen until it needs to happen, right? But had you been going for more throws, okay, again, this is like the second plus frames that you've had, right? Second setup. But if you've been going for throws, that's what opens up the delay tech, right? And the same thing was happening with me, right? Except I don't anti-air you as well as Modern Ryu would. Is that if if you're going for the jump shimmies and other shimmies, it kind of opens you up if I'm not delay teching, right? So. All right, so back in the corner. Jab worked out. So the back jump here, right? So tougher to do against a Ryu with Modern, right? I mean, obviously, even if he's on Classic, this is kind of an easier DP, mostly because of the space, again, right? So if you look at the space you jump at, oh, son of a bitch. Capcom. Killing me. This has happened the last, like, 3 streams, dude. It's so annoying.
Oh my god.
I know, dude, it's like, ugh, come on. Killing me. But anyway, while that's loading back up, if you looked at, like, the space that Bareface was standing at when you decided to back jump, it kind of made it easy to DP, right? There's no, like, ambiguity on if his DP is going to whiff. Whereas sometimes when you were standing against me, oh, come on. In that other game we watched, I was standing kind of further away. So when you did the back jump, I couldn't really punish it with an anti-air unless I wanted to commit to a heavy DP, right? And if I'm not sure it's going to hit, it's better for me to just walk up and take up the space, right? So...
yeah, I have played with Bareface before and done that, and his DP has whiffed, so he's cleaned it up since the last time we've played.
Gotcha. So it's like something he's probably keenly aware of too, right? It's like, oh, and again, it's all space dependent, right? So the spacing allows him to DP with kind of impunity, right? It's like, oh, if I see a jump, I'm just going to DP it. I'm going to hit no matter what, right? So anyway. All right, so let's get back to that section. Right, so I think here, get DP'd, right? So now you have to deal with Oki. Alright, throw loop 6. Good reversal. I think the last few interactions he had been going for kind of meaty options. He went for throw there, so I think that's fine.
Yeah, that was a Bareface specific read.
Yeah, because, I mean, you think about it the other way, right? Like, you take another throw here, you're probably dead. You're going to be dead after one more after that, right? Another guess, so you'd be in the same situation. If he goes for any sort of meaty option, it's going to beat it, right? He could try to shimmy you, but you haven't really been teching, so, you know. Ooh. Okay. And that worked out, right? So you were able to get a button on him as he was walking up. So.
Yeah, and that's where that just spamming crouch heavy kick habit comes from. It's just people always walk forward and do it.
Yeah, especially after that. For whatever reason, after the crouch medium kick, even though Aki is plus, people want to move after it, right? So.
Yeah.
That was good. Good adjustment. But now the next time you do that, he has to think strike throw, right? Do I parry? Do I reversal? Do I block, right? So. Right, so good space for this. Hey, Power Hunger, thanks for the follow. Good space for this, right? He parries the second time. I think he went for the... He obviously, you know, looks like he tries to go for the perfect parry here. Because why wouldn't you, right? Doesn't quite get it,
yeah.
But you're still plus. So, you know, he has to guess here. It's fine. I think it's okay. You're plus. Take the advantage. Go for the mix. Ugh. Or Bareface just reversals in your face, right? That is something that I think happens to Aki players here, is that send heavy kick into the heel kick thing. You'll see this happen, the reversal on block. You'll also see some option selects, right? So you'd see like a delayed jab to try to beat the command grab. So
I know Broski likes to do a snake step to try and bait reversal with it, but I just haven't built that habit yet.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that is Aki specific, right? Like you have to see them doing the option select before you decide to option select against them, right? So, it's something you just have to get through.
Right.
So, again, backing up, unfortunately, you never ever get to a space, unfortunately, where you can throw that fireball, right? So, okay, that works. Good. Mix. Just reversals through it. So, that's like the 4th or 5th reversal, 3rd or 4th probably, that Bareface has gone for. So now would be the time to think about shimmying, right? Like, back shimmying. Maybe not jump shimmying because Ryu's DP is pretty vertical. But going for shimmy
the issue is I don't know any back shimmy setups with Aki, because like all of Aki's Oki setups that I know, they don't leave me because they it loses to instant tag if I back shimmy.
That's pretty common,
But,
right?
yeah.
You need I'm not sure about exactly on Aki's walk speed, but you definitely need 13-ish frames, 10 to 13 frames to be able to escape instant tech. But you can still shimmy in a +5 situation, right? Yeah, it loses to instant tech, but you weren't going for a meaty anyway, right? So the risk there is they throw you, and you end up in the corner, which does suck if that's the case. But the reward, if they do end up delay teching and you shimmy it correctly, right, it works out really well for you, right? Because even if you had gone for shimmy here,
I just take the match.
Yeah, right here. If you shimmy here, this game is over, right? Full cash out into, you should be able to build level 3 from here, and this game is over, right? So
yeah.
Another aspect to consider too is the amount of health you have, right? So taking the reversal here probably means you could have stayed aggressive. You could have stayed aggressive. And I'm sorry, the health you have here means you could have stayed aggressive. But it looks like you do overextend a little bit, right? And part of that might just be because you're pressing your advantage against a fantastic player, and you feel like you have to do that. And that's totally fine too, right? Press the advantage if you can. But again, if you had backed off here, right? This is game, right? So anyway, something to consider.
Yeah.
Right. And this, really good job checking the walk up, right? Oh, you took it. Okay. So, nice work at the end with the throw loop there. He wasn't ready. You went for it. Even if he reversals in level 3s you here, it's not going to kill you. So he's probably waiting for a better opportunity. Probably didn't think you were going to throw again. But the issue ends up being if we were to pick out some of the things that are happening in game, it ends up being around mostly the neutral aspect and trying to control that space a little better, right? Not giving up space for free, contesting a little bit more, both in neutral and in the corner. That's really what it ends up being. I think offensive decision wise, I think you do a decent job. It might just be some of the unfamiliarity with Aki setups that kind of make you do, let me just do the neutral jump or something else that I know the conversion for. Some of that's just lab work, obviously. And yeah, but otherwise, I think you play a really strong Aki, right? If you were to clean up the neutral aspect, all of a sudden, I am the one backing up, trying to get space, and you can throw fireballs with impunity, right? Just be like, all right, OD fireball, drive rush. Juzzy has to deal with that. See what happens, right? Yeah, otherwise, I think that's really what I would focus on if you're trying to get better at this style of character. And this is general too. It's not just for Aki in particular. I mean, Shoto space control is kind of the same way, is that you're trying to control space in front of you so that your other options become more of a thing, right? So typically when you have two players that are face each other, whatever, trying to poke at each other, right, using the long range normals and all that. But as soon as one or two hits land or something happens, one of the players will try to adjust to what they are losing to or getting beat by, and that can open up other avenues for you, right? So if you're able to control space effectively with your stand medium kick, all of a sudden maybe I can't walk in, and then you can just do a driver slow because I'm backing up all the time, right? or you be able to take the space, right? That type of thing. So anyway, so what do you think? Does that sound in line with what you're thinking or was hoping to get out of it? Because you're a fantastic player, man. I'm trying my best here.
Yeah, the main thing is like a lot of what you're saying sounds like what I'm already doing with Dhalsim, just like not really thinking about it. Because Dhalsim has fast buttons that can test the screen too, and it really feels like it's just the same game. It's just their unconscious habits with Dhalsim, and I have to like think consciously about it with Aki.
Yeah, it's muscle I don't want to call it muscle memory in particular, but it's the button familiarity, right? Because like and I think people do this subconsciously too, is if I'm standing in a certain space, and I was talking about this earlier, right? If I'm standing in a certain space, I know what buttons I can press that will reach my opponent. I know what buttons I can press that won't reach my opponent, that maybe if they walk forward, maybe like whatever, right? Like just knowing that is huge, right? And again, this is the same thing you do with Sim very effectively too, right? You control space, and that's all it is in 2D fighters for the most part. It's just Aki has a different tool set, right? She does have great neutral skips too, and that helps a ton, right? Because once you are able to kind of win more neutral interactions, it taxes the opponent's mental stack, right? And then once they start making mistakes, then you can do leaps, jumps, fireball, drive, rush, right? All that stuff happens, right? And I'm sure you're very familiar with that too, right? Like if I get frustrated against your Sim, all of a sudden I'm making mistakes that I wasn't making, and then it's like, oh, I'm eating a million setups, right? Or I'm eating like a bunch of fireballs and stuff, right? So same deal. It's just a different toolkit. So, but yeah, I think you got the idea though. I think you're on the right track for sure. Just need to do a little bit better button selection in neutral, contest a little bit more, like be willing to stand in kind of those uncomfortable spaces, and I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see. What time is it? Did you want to run it back? You got time, or you need to take off?
I'm out of time.
Okay.
I'll definitely hit you up
For sure. Yeah, man. No worries. Yeah, it's always an offer at the end, but if you're out of time, it's all good, man. I know it's late for most folks in the U.S. So, yeah. But yeah, man. Appreciate you coming on. I'm just gonna do the outro real quick. Any last questions before we wrap up here?
No, I think I'm good. I really got what I wanted out of this.
Cool, man. Appreciate it. So yeah, you can hang out on Discord if you want, but otherwise, have a good night, man. I'm just gonna do the outro on stream. It'll be good. Have a good one.
You too. See ya.
Take care. All right, thanks everyone for watching. It's been Sit Down, Shut Up. Hey, Power Hungry, Ember, Beer Coach. Appreciate you guys coming in. I know I don't talk a lot to chat during this because I'm working with somebody, but I do appreciate you guys coming in, checking this stuff out. Let me put links to the Discord here. So this has been Sit Down and Shut Up. I run this through the Fight Rise Discord, so I just put a link to their Discord in the chat. So basically, Fight Rise is a fighting game community. They do tournaments every 2 weeks, so they run events every 2 weeks through their One Fight Stand series. It's basically, if you are in Master or above, you get put into a 7-round Swiss with all the other Master level and above players. If you're below a Master, they'll put you in a pool for non-Master players. It'll typically be a round robin of 7-ish rounds, depending on how many people show up. Usually, it's an 8 to 10 person pool, so you get around 7 rounds of round robin. So that's usually a lot of fun. It's kind of their main thing. So if you can come by, they run that every other Tuesday. I think there's one coming up this week, but don't quote me on that. They also do community showcase events through their Urge to Fight series. If you're interested in seeing those, take a look at twitch.tv/FightRiseFGC. They do community showcases, so they'll do, events with people doing exhibitions and that type of thing. The last event we had Femshep from Par, right? If you know who she is. She was on with one of her rivals, if you will, from her local scene, I think is what it was. I do commentary for them, so if you are interested in that, please check that out. They also do a league format called Big League KO. So basically what this is a 4-week league format where you place into a pool with 7 other players, and you basically run a round robin over the course of 4 weeks. So you get to run 2 matches a week. They're both first to 5s, right? So you get a little more sets, more games basically, but it's spread out over the course of 4 weeks, and you can schedule it with your opponent, and it's pretty flexible, so it's always a good time. It's kind of the main thing they're doing now. The league, I think the next one is going to be in a couple of months. They're running one right now, so if you're interested in that, take a look at Discord. Slots fill up really quickly for this, so if you join the Discord, take a look at that and see maybe next time you can try to get in there. If you're interested in a session like this for yourself, I do coaching. Well, I don't know, call it coaching, but I do training sessions like this for basically all levels. Currently, I'm at 1600 MR, and Ancross, the person I was on, is 1700 MR Sim, and they managed to get something out of this. So, if you're interested in that, take a look at the Fight Rise Discord. Sign up on the channel called Sit Down and Shut Up. Take a look at the pins, and you'll be able to sign up for a session like this. I try to run a couple of these a week. Slots do fill up fast for this too. So, if you're interested in either of those things, please take a look at the Discord. A lot of events happening there. I'm also part of the Newbie Fight Club. So Newbie Fight Club is another Discord focused on getting focused for on fighting games for new players get into fighting games. It's mostly been Street Fighter 6, but they also do some 3D games like Tekken 8 if you're still playing that, and Virtual Fighter. So if you're into 3D games, there's some players for that too. They run lobby nights every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Wednesday is typically their newbie night. So if you're new to the game and want to get some casual games and meet some folks and on the Discord and play games, the Wednesday nights is the night to look at it. Take a look at the Discord there, and just take a look at the events. They also run tournaments every other week, I think. So they'll run like a round robin, sometimes special events too. So take a look at that if that's interesting to you. Otherwise, thank you guys so much. Again, I know I don't talk to everybody during chat, and some focus on who I'm working with, but I do appreciate your messages, your follows, your likes, all that good stuff. If you're looking at past training sessions I've run, take a look at my YouTube channel. They're also on Twitch, but Twitch VOD player kind of sucks, so take a look at YouTube. You'll be able to see them there as well. So with that, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Appreciate it, and have a good night.